Welcome to the Tick Talk Podcast. The clock is always ticking, so let's synchronize our watches and dive in. I'm your host, Callie Brigham, and I'm here to help you make time for what matters. Hey friend, have you ever just assumed people think the way that you think? Have you ever been having a conversation with someone and had the realization that they don't? Have you ever realized that maybe there is a uniqueness to you or a lens that you look at things through, or maybe just a little extra superpower that you wield in your day that maybe somebody else might benefit from? Well, that is where we're going to go today. I was having a conversation with my mom over the Voxer app, if you use that. So we're just having a little chit chat back and forth. And I threw out a phrase that I don't know, I just kind of thought everybody utilized in their time management journey and experience and strategically in their life and in their schedule. And before long, she said, Callie, I feel like I just got a private podcast episode. So that's when I knew, mark it down. Now everyone is going to get to hear. So you get to hear today what started off as just a one-on-one conversation with my mom that I threw out. Yes, I'll share the phrase that pays. Don't worry. I'll get to that really soon. That I shared something that I suppose intuitively has given me a lot of extra margin sometimes in my schedule. It has allowed me to be crazy efficient in some ways. It's allowed me to stop some of the feeling of urgency and deadline and overwhelm and kind of chicken with my head cut off feeling. It's allowed me to kind of make some extra time as far as when it comes to some tasks and some errands. And yeah, I mean, how does that sound? So really what we're going to do is we're going to take some what could be mundane moments and we're going to turn them into awesome opportunities for efficiency. So are you ready? Are there some busy momtrepreneurs out there who are like, give me the strategy? What is the phrase? I don't know that I think like you think, but I want to. Okay, here we go. This is the phrase that runs through my brain fairly frequently. And I'm going to give you several different ideas and stories and really patterns that you can also use my phrase. Okay, here's the phrase. While I'm here. Okay, it might not sound super duper extra special. Like, am I paying for this? No, you're not. This is free. But this is the phrase that I just absolutely love because it makes me feel pretty on top of the game. All right, so in essence, what we're doing is we're using this concept, like I said, called while I'm here. I will trademark that, don't you worry. While I'm here, as an offshoot of maybe something you are familiar with, which would be habit stacking or batching. So it's kind of a cousin of habit stacking or batching. However, it's a bit more spontaneous. It's a bit less planned out. It's a bit less rigid. So if you do not like rigid and you like spontaneity, you are going to love this phrase. Don't worry though, there's something for everybody, because if you do like a little bit of some itemization and some planning for it, there's a place for this too. Okay. I believe this is especially important for my busy momtrepreneurs out there. And I just have to say, I may have mentioned it before on the podcast, but when I was a little girl, my cousins from Ohio, I lived in Madison, Wisconsin, and my cousins were in Cleveland, Ohio. And sometimes we got to go together to vacation on Kelly's Island, which is an island in Lake Erie, whichever one. And there was this particular board game. They don't make it anymore, and you'll hear why, because it is totally not PC at all. But they made this board game, and we played it nonstop. And once you hear it, you'll think, Did you girls have a life? But we did. We had a life and we were living our little momtrepreneur lives. It was called Park and Shop. And basically, you got a stack of cards and they were divided out, shuffled out, and those were your particular errands for the day. So you needed to plot out. It was like to the haberdasher and the fishmonger and the and all these things. But you had to plan out your most efficient path to your errands. Now, throughout the board game, there were dun 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 flat tires or a rainstorm or something that would happen that might deter you and force you to go a different way and delay you, etc. We loved this silly game. Again, they don't make it anymore. I do not think it would pass the feminist test whatsoever, but that's okay because we thought it was the best. And really, in essence, what we were doing is we wanted to be grown-ups, right? We wanted to be able to kind of plan out and master our day from a young age. So if you feel like, man, I sort of do feel like I've been shuffled out some cards. I have lots of, well, I guess it's a Monopoly or something, right? Like chance and all those cards that kind of throw me off my game or come up at the last minute. That is okay because this concept is also for you. All right. So how does this work? The while I'm here idea is that you just kind of run this really quickly through your brain while you're doing a certain activity to see if there's something else in that general area that you can go ahead and take care of. So here's what happened with my mom. I was talking to my mom about the fact that I was leaving for yet another soccer game, volleyball game, etc. But on my way through town, because I crossed 2 bridges to get there, I had a return that I needed to take to the UPS store. I had a delivery to make to a client. I had a couple of other things. And I said, I already have those in mind that I'm going to do. They're already sitting in my car. But I was thinking, you know what? While I'm here, I can go ahead and there was something else that I was going to do along the way. And my mom just stopped and she said, wait a minute. I'm getting my nails done. Because see, we go into town. You can look at Pensacola Beach on a map. It's a little barrier island. And we cross one bridge to get into a smaller town. And then we cross a 3-mile bridge to get into the big city of Pensacola. So she was across one bridge and she was getting her nails done. And she said, you know what? While I'm here getting my nails done, right next door is the CVS. And one of her best friends is having a birthday in a week or so. And she's like, I could go ahead and get the birthday card while I'm here. I was like, that's exactly what it is. So the while I'm here is not just an awareness of where you are in your environment, but it's also go ahead and let your brain go forward a week or so and see if there's anything that's right there in front of you that you could go ahead and knock out now that will save you time later. Okay, so let's give you some practical examples. We'll talk about 3 different opportunities for this time batching, for this strategy, etc. The first might be in a daily routine that you have. So let's talk about cooking. Let's say that you are making dinner. Okay. Making dinner, and we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. This is not the same thing as multitasking, okay? So, you're making dinner and you think, while I'm here, while the knives are out, while the produce is out, while I'm in the zone, maybe I'm going to go ahead, and this is actually something that I'm going to do later today, personally, I'm going to go ahead and prep some snacks for the week. Like, for example, I find that if I have, I love those little baby cucumbers and English cucumbers, is that what they are? And some different peppers, yellow peppers, red peppers, green peppers, so just some different produce. If it is sitting full and uncut in my fridge, I mean, I might as well just toss it, right? But while I'm cooking dinner and the cutting board is out and I'm in the zone, I can say to myself, you know what? Why don't I go ahead and prep it? I will chop it all. I'll put it in one big container, one big Ziploc. And then throughout the week, it not only is a snack, but it's also what I can throw on some lettuce for my salad for my lunch. Okay, or for dinner. So that's a while I'm here example. While I'm here, why don't I prep some other food? Same thing with fruits, same thing with bread. But while I'm here, why don't I go ahead and prep for breakfast tomorrow, or make the kids lunches, or wipe off this counter, or put away the dishes in the dishwasher, or go ahead and put my spices back in order so I can find them again later. While I'm here, while the stove is on, why don't I go ahead and brown some more ground beef? While the oven is on, why don't I throw in some veggies to be roasted that I can eat throughout the week? So it is a bit more spontaneous while you're in the moment, while you have some tools around you. What else can you do while I'm here? That's the concept there. So cooking is one example. Let's talk about errands. This is probably what I use more than anything else. While I'm at the store, are there any other stores around me that I need to go to? Are there any gifts that I need to buy? I think about like kids' birthday parties, or for a family member, or for a hostess that you might be going to see. So for example, in a week or so, I'm going to Nashville for an event, learning about building personal branding. I'm super excited to go to that in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to be staying at a friend's house. Well, the next time I'm at the grocery store, I happen to know that her daughters love chocolate. So I could say, while I'm here, let me grab some chocolate for her house, for her kids, instead of the night before, the morning of, I'm leaving to go out of town. And I'm like, oh no, I've got to get something. So I like to think about where I'm at right now and what do I have coming up that I can go ahead and grab while I'm here. So errands, I do that quite a bit, especially because I have to intentionally go into town. So I will make sure that I sort of get everything done around there, but not just what I needed to get done today. I think that's the other point. It's what is this going to save me from in the future having to go do, having to make a multiple trip. So it's like one trip while I'm here. Another idea though would be work tasks. So this might look like, well, let's just say that you're at the computer and you are paying some bills. Okay, while I'm here at the computer, and I did this earlier too, I was finishing something else, uploading something, and I said, while I'm here on the computer in the zone, I might as well go ahead and type out the email that I want to send to our email list, to the tribe, letting them know about how awesome the episode was last week with my friend Heather Daniel Kent. Okay, swimming with sharks, the whole thing. While I'm here, is there anything else that I can do in the next few minutes at the computer? And by the way, I had that on my list to do 2 days later. I was going to do that on a Friday, but instead I was like, I'm already here at the computer. It's going to take me 5 minutes. I knocked it out and I got to mark something off on a Wednesday that I had scheduled for a Friday. I loved it while I'm here. So we can use that as part of your routine. You can use that as part of your errands, and you can use that as part of your work tasks. Are you getting super excited? All you have to do is ask yourself this. So how do we create this mindset? If you didn't already normally ask yourself this question, but now you're going to, I'm going to be like this little angel in your ear while I'm here. Okay, the first is to make sure you've got a mindfulness and awareness. It's really nothing more than being aware of your surroundings and being present. We have to be present in the moment to look around. While I'm here. You could also keep a list of potential tasks to batch in various locations. You could even have sticky notes in different areas that just has the quote, while I'm here. And if you do that, would you post that on social? I would love it. Tag us, tag the TikTok pod on Instagram, tag me personally, Callie Brigham on social. I would love it. Tag it. So you could have one on the steering wheel of your car that just says, while I'm here. You could have one on your fridge, while I'm here. You could have one in your bathroom. You could have one on your laptop, while I'm here. And again, this is not to add an hour-long task to yourself. It's just to say, is there anything I can knock out that my future self will thank me for? Okay, there is an element, by the way, of creating this mindset of planning ahead, because it's not always spontaneous. It will eventually start to become something that you think ahead of time for. So you could, as you're making your weekly plan, and by the way, I've got some other original ideas for that I'm excited to share with you soon. But as you're making your weekly plan for the week and doing your brain drain, you could start to say, in anticipation, while I'm here, and that's usually what I do with those errands. While I'm here, I'll think a week or two ahead of my weekly plan and go ahead and get some of those things taken care of and knocked out. Maybe you're planning to host a dinner party and it's not until next Saturday, but you're doing your weekly grocery run now. While I'm here, let me go ahead and get most of the things that I need so that all I'll have to be thinking about a few days before the dinner party are the last minute things that maybe have to wait until then. Or like I'm going to get some steaks from the butcher or something too. I feel like that would be on Park and Shop, the butcher. So you can start to then plan ahead and think ahead and create that planner that does have those errands and those work tasks. All right. What I want to say as we wrap up this thought, because it is a very simple thought, I don't want to overcomplicate it, but I do want to have you avoid any additional burnout that this might contribute to or guilt that this might contribute to. This is the opposite idea of that. So I want to clarify that this is different than multitasking. This is not the same thing. Multitasking is something where you are not zoned in, right? You have 3 or 4 things going on, not doing any of them really well. That is not what this is, all right? This is more multi-batching, so to speak, and making sure that you are just, in a manner of speaking, adding something that is super, super quick that will help you in the future. So I do want to make sure that everybody knows we are not talking in any way about multitasking, because really in the time management space, that is a big no-no. That's something that we don't want to add to it. Okay. All right. So everybody's good. We're like, okay, not going to do that. We're going to avoid any ideas or thoughts about multitasking. The next thing that I want to make sure that you understand is this is also important to still have boundaries. We're not necessarily having other people add to this list. Hey, mom, while you're up. Hey, mom, while you're doing that, unless that it serves you. Okay, so I want to make sure that we do that. As a matter of fact, I keep thinking about that multitasking. Is my brain multitasking? Not multitasking. How about mindful batching? All right, so just came up with another little phrase that pays. Not multitasking, but mindful batching. All right, but let's get back to that, making sure that we have boundaries. Boundaries for ourselves. If you already have your weekly plan and you're thinking, while I'm here, I'll just knock that out, but secretly you know that that's going to derail the rest of your afternoon, no, we're not doing that. So we're not adding in what other people think we should add in. We're not adding in things at the expense of getting off track. We're just saying something that is simple and quick and easy. And then last but not least, I want to make sure that we're still understanding that there is a balance between productivity, because I don't want to add more things to your schedule so you start to create that burnout. The idea is not to burden you with this question. The idea is to free you with this question. So if you find yourself becoming more and more committed to things by asking this question, that is not the intention of it. Okay, so we want to make sure we are not multitasking. We're mindful batching. We're still having the proper boundaries for ourselves personally and for our schedule. And we're having a beautiful balance. We're having a beautiful balance of still having the intention for our time and being productive without feeling like we have added on more and more to our schedule. That is, if that's helping your future, but hurting your present, we don't want it. Okay, so I hope to recap that you will take this short little phrase, just 3 words, while I'm here, as a strategy, as a tool that's really going to allow you to maximize your time without adding stress or guilt, because it really, at the end of the day, is about being intentional with these moments and finding a way to mindfully batch these tasks. So my challenge to you is to try it out this week. Are you ready? Are you gonna? So as you go about your daily routines, I want you to ask yourself, what else can be done while you're there? And don't forget, I would love it if you would share your wins with me and your experiences on social media. I think this is going to be really fun. This is going to catch people's attention. So if you need an attention getter in any form or fashion for your own personal business or just to kind of stir up some conversation, go ahead and put that sticky note or hashtag while I'm here and make sure that you tag the podcast at TikTok, the TikTok pod, and that you could always put it in our Facebook group too. The link for that is in the show notes because I think that's going to be fun to celebrate these things together. Okay, so what I'm excited about is how this simple little phrase is just going to be a fun game. You know, just like Park and Shop was a game for us, I want you to think about this as a fun little game that you can win for yourself. And speaking of winning, got some great episodes coming up this month I'm excited for. So I do want to say that if movement is something that you are wanting to incorporate in your life, your fitness, your nutrition, all of that, if you've ever wondered, like, what in the world do I do when I go out of town to stay on track? Or what really are the benefits of prioritizing my personal fitness? Well, let me just tell you about my guest coming up next episode. It's going to be phenomenal. Got some other great things in store for you this month. But for right now, we are not multitasking. We're mindful batching. And we are using this phrase that I think will create so much fun as you win the game of life and you win with your time. While I'm here. All right. Well, while I'm here, I just want to take this moment to thank you so much for tuning into these episodes. We're getting closer and closer to our year anniversary. Stay tuned. There's going to be some fun things coming up as we celebrate 1 year and as we celebrate going into our 100th episode. That's going to be here before we know it, right? So I appreciate you. I'm also excited for our first ever one-on-one master class with our momtrepreneurs. We are doing one-on-one mentoring with them. And so I know that we'll have lots of great stories to share with you on that. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you have subscribed, you have shared, and of course, those ever lovely reviews. That helps other people, your friends, your family, your peers find our show and to learn from it too. So again, let's help all of you out there. You're ambitious, you're momtrepreneurs. You are doing the thing, but we're doing it to get to the top of your game without burnout and without guilt. Okay, talk to you next time. God bless.
Thank you for joining me on the TikTok podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a 5-star review. Your feedback fuels our mission to help you master your time. Set your alarm for our next episode, and until then, make every moment count.